From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radyo Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the shortwave facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media or Voice of America on the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.750 MHz, and 21.720 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang. Malacañang on Thursday reaffirmed its recognition of Senator Sherwin Gatchalian as the acting leader of the Senate, saying the move is grounded in jurisprudence and long-standing parliamentary practice. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the executive branch acknowledges Gatchalian's leadership following his election by the Senate's new majority bloc during Wednesday's session. Gatchalian's election came after minority leaders, joined by Senator Francis Escudero, established a quorum and proceeded with legislative business. Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri was also chosen as chair of the Committee on Rules, while former Senate President Vicente Soto III administered Gatchalian's oath as the chamber's most senior member. The leadership shift unfolded amid days of turmoil triggered by the arrest of Senator Jinggoy Estrada and the absence of members of the former majority bloc led by Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, which resulted in multiple canceled sessions. Cayetano has denounced the move as an illegal coup d'etat and refused to recognize the authority of the new majority composed of 12 senators. Castro said Malacañang's position is anchored on the landmark Avellino versus Cuenco ruling, a long-cited precedent in Senate leadership and quorum disputes. She added that a similar principle guided the resolution of the 2015 leadership issue involving then-Senate President Franklin Drilon. The palace issued its recognition shortly after Gatchalian's election, saying it deemed the process valid and consistent with parliamentary norms. Castro stressed that Malacañang considers it proper to acknowledge the new leadership because it emerged through what the executive views as a legitimate exercise of Senate procedure.
Matatandaan po natin kahit naman po na nagkaroon ng isang session sa pamumuno po ni dating Senate President Franklin Drilon. Ginawa rin po nila ito, that's 2015. Kumbaga ay ang kasong Avellino versus Cuenco rin ang kanilang sinunod. Doon sa kaso ng 2015, sinasabi po na 4 ang nasa abroad at 2 or 3, 3 po ang sinasabing nakadetain. So, ang ginawa nilang recognized base number ay 17. So, dito lumalabas na since nakadetain si Senator Jinggoy Estrada, definitely masasabi natin na he is beyond coercive reach. Dahil hindi mo naman to pwede mapatawag bigla-bigla nang hindi ka pa magbo-motion sa court kung saan siya nakadetain. Or rather, magre-request ka sa court para siya ay mabigyan ng chance na makalabas. At ito naman si Senator Bato ay hanggang ngayon ay hindi natin alam kung nasaan. So definitely, he is beyond coercive reach. Kahit tanong mo siguro ang kanyang pamilya ay hindi nila masasabi. Kahit puntahan pa ng Sergeant at Arms si Senator Bato sa kanyang bahay ay hindi mo rin ito mapapatawag. So with that, lumalabas na 22 ang recognized base number. So nagkaroon ng 12 at ayon na rin sa Avellino versus sa Cuenco, Ang 12, kapag ka po, dahil sa Avelino versus Cuenco, lumalabas na ang recognized base number ay 23, dahil isa ang nasa abroad. At nirecognize po ng korte, mismo ng Supreme Court, na ang 12 ay makukonsider na majority in relation to the declaration of a quorum. So, with the same scenario, 22 ang lumalabas na recognized base number, 12 ay masasabi nating majority para mag-form ng isang quorum.
Was Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is prepared to call a special session of Congress once the Senate submits a formal request and presents valid grounds, the palace said Thursday. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro confirmed that the President will act immediately upon receiving an official communication from the Senate leadership under Acting Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian. When asked if President Marcos is inclined to approve such a request, Castro said the President is inclined to give in to the official request for the special session. Among the measures the President wants Congress to tackle is the proposed anti-political dynasty law, which Castro identified as one of his priority bills.
Anyway, ganito yan, no? Sabi nila, sila ang magre-request for a special session. So as soon as the new leadership will send the official request for special session addressed to the President, then the President will act immediately on that. Inclined ang Presidente na to give in to the special request for, or rather, official request for the special session. Bakit? Kasi kung marami maaantala dahil sa mga nangyayaring ganitong kaganapan, hindi po nais ng Pangulo na magkaroon ng pag-antala sa trabaho ng Senado. Provided lamang po ang official request ay dapat po rin na kinapapalooban ng valid grounds for the calling of a special session. Tignan po natin muna kung ano yung special request nila. Kasi ang gusto po talaga ng Pangulo sa ngayon, ito ang isa sa mga priority bills niya po talaga yung anti-political dynasty. Gusto niya po talaga ito maipasa.
The possibility of a special session surfaced after the Senate lost several session days due to a leadership dispute that stalled legislative work. President Marcos earlier warned that disruptions in the chamber could delay priority measures meant to address urgent economic challenges, including the impact of rising global oil prices. Gatchalian has said senators are now studying whether a special session is needed to act on pending measures and appointments, including the confirmation of 5 military generals whose promotions may lapse if Congress fails to act before they reach mandatory retirement age. The Senate is also reviewing other bills and matters left pending due to the suspension of regular sessions.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang said Thursday that domestic political tensions may have played a role in the Philippines' failed bid for a non-permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council, or UNSC. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro made the statement when asked whether recent political developments could have influenced the vote, despite President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s active campaign for the country's candidacy. She explained that the negative perception created by political disputes and controversies may have shaped how other countries viewed the Philippines.
Yes, lahat ng political noise, lahat ng political tensions, nakaka-apekto ito. At ito ang nakikita ng buong bayan at buong mundo sa impression dito sa Pilipinas. So, nagiging negatibo dahil sa mga ingay na ito, na karamihan naman ay mga obstructionist katulad ng pag-describe ng Pangulo sa huling kapihan with the media.
Philippines lost to Kyrgyzstan in the race for the lone Asia-Pacific seat for the 2027 to 2028 term. Kyrgyzstan secured 142 votes, while the Philippines received 49 in the fourth round of balloting at the UN General Assembly. The Marcos Jr. administration had mounted an aggressive diplomatic campaign, framing the bid as part of efforts to strengthen the country's role in multilateral decision-making. The UN Security Council is one of the most influential bodies in global governance, responsible for maintaining international peace and security. A non-permanent seat is widely seen as a platform for countries to expand their diplomatic influence and help shape international policy.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has ordered the Department of Energy or DOE to move swiftly in stabilizing the country's power supply, with priority attention on Luzon and the Visayas. Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said, "The President's directive is clear. Fix or normalize the situation at the soonest possible time." Castro said the President met with DOE officials on Wednesday to address multiple power concerns, including the situation in Catanduanes and the status of the government's stock-filling projects. According to Castro, the President wants new power plants built, transmission networks expanded, and bottlenecks delaying submarine cable and transmission line projects resolved immediately. She added that the President also instructed the Energy Regulatory Commission or ERC to conduct a performance review of the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines or NGCP and ensure NGCP completes all its pending deliverables.
So the directive is to fix or normalize the situation the soonest possible time. At napag-usapan din po ang Catanduanes power situation and stockpiling project. So marami pong pinag-utos ang Pangulo. Unang-una po ay dapat po na mapagawa o mabuild ang new power plants to increase increase energy production, to expand the transmission network and implement interventions to address problems delaying the construction of submarine cables and transmission lines. At sa lahat po na maaaring maging sitwasyon dahil sa di umanong issue sa power situation, ang utos po ng Pangulo ay mabilis ang aksyon at tignan din po kung ano po ang status ng mga proyekto at trabaho po ng NGCP. So, marami pa pong ibinili ng Pangulo, nandito pa rin po. Ibinili niya po na dapat ang ERC ay mag-conduct ng performance review of the NGCP and ensure that it completes all its deliverables.
Castro said discussions also covered improving the transmission system and accelerating renewable energy development. The energy sector has faced a series of disruptions in recent months, from red and yellow alerts in Luzon and the Visayas to a system-wide blackout in the Palawan main grid and ongoing rotational brownouts in Catanduanes. As for the country's fuel inventory, Castro reported that as of May 29th, the Philippines has around 46 days worth of fuel reserves.
Meron po na pag-usapan tungkol sa improving the transmission system, accelerating the development of renewable energy. At titignan ko lamang po rito yung sinasabi niyong supply ng fuel. At meron po. Meron po na pag-usapan dito tungkol sa as of May 29, 2026, the country has about 46 days worth of the fuel reserves.
Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang is assuring the public that the government is not abandoning overseas Filipino workers or OFWs facing legal troubles abroad, including 3 Filipino seafarers currently detained in Algeria. In a palace briefing, Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has given direct instructions to the Department of Migrant Workers or DMW and the Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA to closely monitor and assist Filipinos involved in legal cases overseas. According to the DMW's latest report, the government has already extended legal services to the 3 seafarers detained in Algeria on drug-related charges. Castro added that lawyers representing the group successfully secured the dismissal of charges against 5 of the 8 Filipino crew members initially implicated. The remaining 3 Filipinos have received reduced sentences and are now awaiting the outcome of their appeal. Beyond legal support, the DMW has also provided financial assistance and facilitated compassionate visits for the families of the detained seafarers. Castro said the families continue to receive remittances from the ship owners. Castro emphasized that the DMW continues to monitor the progress of the case and remains in close coordination with Algerian authorities.
Ayon na rin po sa utos ng Pangulo, ang DMW, pati na po ang DFA, ay ginagawa lahat ng paraan sa mga kababayan natin na nasasangkot sa mga kaso. At ayon na rin sa DMW, ito po ang kanilang ulat patungkol po do sa ating mga kababayan na nagkaroon ng kaso dito sa Algeria. Ito po ang kanilang mga mensahe. Number 1, the case of the remaining 3 Filipino seafarers in Algeria involving several kilograms of cocaine is still pending resolution in the Court of Algeria. The DMW, together with the DFA, has provided the services of counsel for all 3 seafarers. The lawyers successfully worked on the dismissal of the case of 5 out of the 8 seafarers who were accused. The 3 remaining seafarers had their sentences reduced and are awaiting the results of the appeal. The DMW has arranged for the compassionate visits of the families of the seafarers during their detention and provided financial assistance to those who have been repatriated. The ship owner has been providing continuous remittances to the families during the period of their detention. The DMW is continuously monitoring the status of the case, and the Philippine government respects the judicial process of the People's Republic or People's Democratic Republic of Algeria as it pursues all legal avenues to protect the rights of its Filipino nationals who are currently detained. So yan po ang pinakahuling ulat po ng DMW.
That was Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Thursday announced the filing of graft and malversation complaints against contractor Curly Discaya and several officials of the Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH in connection with alleged anomalous flood control projects in Kalumpit, Bulacan Province. In a palace briefing, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the cases were formally filed Thursday morning before the Malolos Regional Trial Court. Castro said the filing was led by DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon together with Assistant Ombudsman Miko Clavano. The respondents face charges for violating Section 3E of the Anti-Graft and Corruption Practices Act, as well as malversation of public funds through falsification of public documents. Castro noted that the Discaya Group had been involved in DPWH projects as far back as 2016.
Formal nang sinampahan ng kaso si Curly Discaya at iba pang opisyal ng DPWH na sangkot sa maanumalyang flood control projects sa Bulusan, Kalumpit, Bulacan kaninang umaga sa Malolos Regional Trial Court sa Bulacan. Pinangunahan ni DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon kasama ni Assistant Ombudsman Miko Clavano ang pagsasampa ng kaso. Una, violation of Section 3E of the Republic Act No. 3019 or Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. Pangalawang kaso, criminal charges of malversation of public funds through falsification of public documents. Malalaman natin at naaalala natin ang mga diskaya ay namayagpag sa kanilang mga proyekto noong taumpang 2016. At Diskaya, or Curly Diskaya, along 10 other individuals spanning various roles within the DPWH Bulacan, First, DEO, and the private sector. So yan po ang mga ikinaso sa kanila.
Curly Diskaya is currently under Senate custody. His wife, Sarah Diskaya, also implicated in allegedly anomalous flood control projects worth billions, is detained in Cebu over a separate graft and malversation case involving a supposed 96.5 million peso ghost flood control project in Davao Occidental.
Dateline Malacañang.
Former Taguig City Mayor Lino Edgardo Cayetano has officially taken his oath as the new General Manager of People's Television Network Incorporated, or PTV4. Presidential Communications Office, or PCO Acting Secretary Dave Gomez administered the oath during a ceremony held Thursday morning, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro announced in a briefing. She added that Cayetano's appointment is expected to further strengthen the administration's communications efforts and support the PCO's mandate of delivering timely, accurate, and relevant information to the public.
Malugod na tinatanggap ng Presidential Communications Office, PCO, si dating Taguig City Mayor, Director at Filmmaker Lino Cayetano bilang bagong General Manager ng People's Television Network. Formal na nanumpa sa tungkulin si General Manager Cayetano kasama ang kanyang pamilya ngayong araw sa harap ni PCO Acting Secretary Dave Gomez sa isang seremonyang ginanap ngayong umaga. Magiging mahalagang bahagi si General Manager Cayetano sa patuloy na pagpapalakas ng organisasyon at sa pagsusulong ng mandato ng PCO at ng PTV. Maligayang pagdating sa pamilyang PCO, General Manager Cayetano.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. earlier appointed Cayetano to the post, replacing Maria Lourdes Fagar. Gomez cited Cayetano's extensive experience across media, the private sector, and public service as key assets in steering PTV4 amid a rapidly evolving multimedia landscape. Cayetano holds a Bachelor of Arts in Mass Communication from the University of the Philippines and a diploma in film from the New York Film Academy. He previously directed primetime programs for major networks and spent more than a decade as a director and creative consultant for ABS-CBN. In government, he served as representative of Taguig, Pateros' 2nd District from 2013 to 2016 and later as mayor of Taguig City from 2019 to 2022.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has approved a new investment roadmap expanding the industries eligible for government tax incentives, a move aimed at drawing more investors, generating jobs, and accelerating economic growth. Under Memorandum Order Number 47, the President signed off on the 2026 Strategic Investment Priority Plan, or SIPP, which lists economic activities that may qualify for fiscal perks under the CREATE Act. The order was uploaded to the official gazette on June 2nd. The SIPP will guide government agencies in determining which sectors may receive income tax holidays, enhanced deductions, and other incentives to support business expansion. The plan was drafted by the Board of Investments in consultation with various agencies and private sector groups. The 2026 SIPP classifies priority industries into three tiers. Tier 1, sectors with strong job creation potential, including agriculture, food manufacturing, semiconductors, healthcare, housing, logistics, IT BPM, and energy. Tier 2, industries critical to industrial development and supply chain resilience, such as electric vehicles, renewable energy, crude oil refining, and import substituting manufacturing. And Tier 3, advanced and high-value sectors like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, data centers, biotechnology, and research and development. The government updates the SIPP every 3 years to align incentives with national priorities and emerging industries. The 2026 plan supports the Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028, the Trabajo para sa Bayan Plan, Pagtanaw 2050, and Ambisyon Natin 2040. Memorandum Order No. 47 was signed by Acting Executive Secretary Ralph Recto on May 21st by authority of the President.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has issued a series of proclamations declaring special non-working days in several localities nationwide to mark their respective anniversaries and major cultural celebrations. Under Proclamation No. 1287, June 11 is a special non-working day in the province of Rizal in celebration of its 125th founding anniversary. In Tabaco City, Albay, June 24 has been declared a special non-working day through Proclamation No. 1286, coinciding with the city's annual Tabak Festival. The President also signed Proclamation No. 1285, declaring June 18th a special non-working day in New Correlia, Davao del Norte for the town's founding anniversary. Meanwhile, June 15th will be a special non-working day in Camalaniugan, Cagayan, as the municipality marks its 430th founding anniversary pursuant to Proclamation No. 1284. Through Proclamation No. 1283, June 26 has been designated a special non-working day in Sawata, Davao del Norte in celebration of its 22nd Araw ng Sawata. In addition, June 24th has been declared a special non-working day in the city of San Juan under Proclamation No. 1282 in time for the city's Wata Wata Festival. All proclamations were signed on June 3rd by Acting Executive Secretary Ralph Recto by authority of the President.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, members of the Senate media on Thursday condemned Senator Rodante Marcoleta for claiming that many mainstream journalists are paid hacks, calling the accusation a reckless and baseless attack on the press. In a strongly worded statement, the Senate media said Marcoleta's remarks during the Blue Ribbon Committee hearing were irresponsible and a reckless attack on an institution vital to a functioning democracy. They stressed that the senator's allegation maligns journalists who routinely face intimidation, harassment, and threats while performing their duty to inform the public and hold officials accountable. The group warned that such unfounded claims further erode public trust in legitimate journalism at a time when disinformation and political polarization already threaten public discourse. The Senate media emphasized that journalists do not serve politicians or political fractions, but the public, by pursuing facts, verifying information, and scrutinizing those in power without fear or favor. They cautioned that the press must not be dragged into political rivalries or weaponized by competing camps, saying criticism of media coverage is welcome, but serious allegations must be backed by evidence, not rhetoric. The group underscored that the free press can only fulfill its constitutional role when allowed to operate independently, free from threats, pressure, or political coercion. They concluded by reiterating that the press is not the enemy of any political faction nor an extension of any political machinery.
Dateline Malacañang.
The National Shrine and Parish of St. Padre Pio in Santo Tomas, Batangas Province has officially received a Vatican decree elevating it to the status of an international shrine. Shrine administrators announced the development Thursday, saying the decree was issued by the Dicastery for Evangelization on May 25th, coinciding with the 139th birth anniversary of Saint Padre Pio. They described the recognition as a historic milestone that calls the faithful to deepen their devotion and gratitude. The elevation makes the Padre Pio Shrine only the second international shrine in the Philippines, following the International Shrine of Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage in Antipolo. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines unanimously endorsed the bid during its July 2024 plenary assembly. The shrine is home to first-class relics of Saint Padre Pio, whose life, ministry, and reported miracles continue to inspire millions of Catholics worldwide. Preparations are now underway for the formal declaration on September 23rd, the feast day of Saint Padre Pio. Shrine administrators urge the faithful to join in prayer as they prepare for the solemn celebration.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is traveling to Iloilo City Friday, accompanied by First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos to attend the third commencement exercises of the West Visayas State University, or WVSU College of Law, an institution where the First Lady once served as a member of the faculty. The President and the First Lady are expected to arrive at around 2 in the afternoon, joining graduates, their families, and university officials for the ceremony. The visit carries personal significance for the First Lady, who taught at the WVSU College of Law in 2022 as a part-time faculty member handling Criminal Law 1. Information from the university also shows that Mrs. Marcos previously taught public international law, administrative law, and civil law review, further deepening her connection to the institution. In 2024, the university conferred upon the First Lady the honorary degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, recognizing her contributions to legal, education, and public service. Aside from attending the commencement rites, President Marcos and the First Lady will also lead the inauguration of the new WVSU College of Law building. They will be joined by Department of Public Works and Highways Secretary Vince Dizon and Commission on Higher Education Chairperson Shirley Agrupes for the ceremony, which marks a major milestone in the university's efforts to expand its legal education facilities. The Iloilo engagement forms part of the administration's continuing outreach to academic institutions nationwide, highlighting support for legal education, infrastructure development, and regional academic excellence.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Philippines inflation picture showed a slight but welcome improvement in May 2026 as headline inflation eased to 6.8%, down from 7.2% in April. While prices remain elevated, the slowdown offers a bit of breathing room for consumers who have been grappling with months of rising costs. From January to May, inflation now averages 4.5%, still above the government's target range. A year ago, in May 2025, inflation was just 1.3%, underscoring how sharply prices have climbed over the past year. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA, the biggest factor behind the easing inflation was the transport sector, which saw its annual price increase slow to 16.2% from April's 21.4%. This reflects slightly lower fuel prices and moderated fare adjustments, offering some relief to commuters and logistics operators. The other major commodity groups also helped pull down inflation. Food and non-alcoholic beverages, which slowed to 5.7% from 6%. Housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels easing to 7.8% from 8.2%. These categories cover essential household expenses, meaning even small improvements can significantly affect family budgets. While May's inflation figure shows a modest improvement, the pace of price increases remains high compared to last year. Economists say sustained relief will depend on global oil movements, domestic food supply, and the stability of power and transport systems, all of which continue to face volatility.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.750 MHz, and 21.720 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.